Hi there, I'm Suzette Kroll, Registered Dietitian. I'm your personal nutrition guide. In this session, we're going to be talking about 2 F words in nutrition. This is a 2-part series. In this first part, we're going to be talking about the F word, fat. You've already reduced fat in your diet by opting for fruit in place of sweets and by choosing vegetables and fruits in place of snack foods. This session, we're going to be focusing on reducing added fats. That is butter, lard, margarine, oil, mayonnaise, sour cream, salad dressing, cream cheese, heavy cream. All of these fats that you might add at the table, whether you're at home or in a restaurant, or in cooking, your own cooking or restaurant cooking. Why the concern about fat? Well, small amounts deliver loads of calories. Gram for gram, fat has more than twice the calories as the other 2 nutrients, protein and carbohydrate. So cutting fat grams is really the fastest way to cut calories. There's 3,500 calories stored in a pound of body fat, remember. In addition, fat doesn't occupy very much space in your stomach, and you can see this very clearly by looking at that stomach on the left-hand side of the picture. Now you must be thinking, aren't there some fats that are healthy? I've heard that. And yes, that's true. These fats, olive oil, avocados, nuts, nut butters, these are all fats from plant sources. And generally, plant fats are healthier than animal fats because they're not as artery clogging. But that doesn't mean that they're not any lower in calories. So you can't fry in olive oil and expect to lose weight. You could gain a lot of weight by eating a jar of peanut butter every day. Just because it's a healthy fat doesn't mean that it's okay to eat unlimited amounts of it. Which do you think has more calories, oil or butter? You might be surprised to see when you compare them side by side that the olive oil actually is a little bit higher in calories than the butter, and it seems like you always hear the opposite. Well, the main difference between these two is that olive oil is plant, butter's from an animal, and if you look at that saturated fat column, you can clearly see that olive oil is almost a quarter less the saturated fat as the butter, and that's why it's always considered healthier. That's not as artery clogging. And then there's nuts. Very often there's a desire to use nuts as a protein source. Well, you can clearly see here that nuts have more fat than protein. These are organic raw almonds. They have 8 grams of protein and 18 grams of fat. They're also very dense. They don't fill up very much space in your stomach like this picture on the left. So you're going to need to eat a lot of them to feel full. My personal opinion about nuts is that it's smarter to use them as a condiment as part of a meal versus making a meal out of them just themselves. That means add nuts to salad, just a sprinkling on top, or add nuts, a sprinkling on top to your yogurt. It should be like the bling or the cherry on top to the rest of the meal. It's a lot easier to control the portions and the calories that way. Your nutrition goal from this session to the next is to start limiting added fats to no more than a tablespoon per day. If we're talking about nuts or seeds, you can use a guideline of 1/4 to 1/2 cup for those. Here are some very practical ways to reduce the added fat in your diet. Use this rule of R's, as I call it. It means reduce, remove, or replace. So you want to identify the added fats in your current diet, and as you use them in the coming weeks, reduce, remove, or replace them. So let me give you an example with mayonnaise. Let's say you were going to make a tuna salad using mayonnaise. You could think about reducing the amount that you use. Maybe you normally add 1/2 cup of mayonnaise to the batch. So reduce it and use only 1/4 cup. Or you could remove it totally. Maybe you have dry tuna. If that's not appealing, maybe you replace the mayonnaise with something else like plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Or you could use a combination of these R's. Maybe you reduce and replace at the same time. Maybe you reduce the mayonnaise by half and fill in the other half with that plain non-fat yogurt and make a great tuna salad. You get the idea. Reduce fat intake by also changing your cooking methods. So the column on the left is a list of low-fat cooking methods, and the column on the right is a list of high-fat cooking methods. This is a great time to do a screenshot or take a picture of the screen with your phone or rewind and watch this again, especially when you're going to restaurants, so you can identify the way that a food is described on the menu, the way it's cooked, and you can know right away whether it's going to have a lot of fat or not. Choose wisely. When you do use that tablespoon of oil, here's a list of the best ones and the ones to avoid. One thing you might not be aware of is that oils are processed for a similar reason that grains are processed. There's a lot of good healthy stuff in oil, but it makes the oil go rancid quickly. So food manufacturers are generally interested in shelf, not health. So a lot of the good stuff in oil is taken out so oil lasts longer on the shelf. So when you see a bottle of oil that's clear, clear plastic or clear glass, and you can see through it and the oil's nice and clear, that's a clear sign that the oil has been processed or refined. When the oil is in a dark bottle or you see cloudy stuff floating around, that's a better sign that the oil is unprocessed. Usually it'll say on the label, unrefined. And if you're going to spend the calories on that tablespoon of oil, you might as well get the nutrition benefit from it at the same time. So that's why the list of best oils here include the ones that are unrefined. In summary, you want to identify the added fats in your own diet and live by the rules of ours to reduce them. Use lower fat cooking methods. Order smart when dining out. Your nutrition goal between this session and the next is to limit these added fats to no more than a tablespoon per day, and with the nuts and seeds, remember, 1/4 to 1/2 cup. All right, go ahead and advance to the next video, and I'll share with you what the next F word is. Until then, I'm Suzette Kroll, registered dietitian. I'm your personal nutrition guide.